Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Midwest Mythos. And yeah, here we are again, yet another week. So before I even get into anything, I want you all to pause it, whatever you got to do, go check out the YouTube channel. I've been trying to build it up and I feel like I'm finally getting to the point where I can regularly post on it. It's Midwest Mythos Podcast. And I'll tell you what, the benefit of watching on YouTube compared to any of your podcatchers, you get to see my semi good looking face and the real good looking face of the man we got this week for an episode. This week we got returning guest Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are. How's it going, brother?
Well, way to make me fucking blush, dog.
Oh man, that's my
I was gonna
job.
say, I was gonna say you're devilishly handsome. People want to look at that face more than they want to look at mine.
Much love, much appreciated.
Man, I'm doing great, man. The week has been good, the month has been good, the year is starting off good. I mean, there's a lot of things obviously going on around the world. It's not too great, but me personally, in my little world, the little circle that I have, things have been fantastic. And I mean, when you're when you're a father, every day's interesting. I know you know that now.
Oh yeah,
You have a little one at home. What is she like 6 months now, 7 months?
5 months tomorrow.
5 months. Wow. Wow. She looks exactly like her mother.
Yeah, I hear that every single day. Or what we've been getting lately is she looks just like her grandpa, which if you put glasses and a salt and pepper beard on her, she would look just like her grandpa.
No shit, that's funny. Oh man, it's really fun having kids, man. I mean, you're getting to know that. I mean, and you know that I have two teenagers, and I just had a new baby as well, a few months, well, not a few months in the spring. You had yours in fall, and she's just turned 9 months today, actually. Today marks 9 months for her.
That's awesome.
She has four teeth. She seems to be pretty strong. She has quite the personality. It's amazing. Not to get on like this the abortion thing, but sometimes I feel like you need to have a child to uh, to understand I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like I've thought about this like 100 different times. Like I feel like spiritually you need to have a child to ascend almost kind of thing. Like it gives you like such a unique perspective on life. And I'm not saying that if you like, because there are obviously people that can't have
Mhm.
children, and I'm not, I just, I don't know. Just, I know that my son was born in 2008 and I was not going down a very freaking good road. I was cage fighting. I had my circle of friends were not very good friends. I was getting in street fights. We were getting in trouble, running from cops and shit like that. And I don't know if my son didn't show up, I don't know if I'd still be here today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they change it and they change it quick, man. I remember we were sitting there out by the fire at Monster Fest and my wife was pretty pregnant at the time and you were just telling me, Riley, man, once it gets to that time, your whole world's gonna change real quick. And I was like, yeah, I was kind of like, yeah, but dude, the second my daughter was born, I knew what you were saying. You were one of the first people I actually told. I remember texting you, yo, Kevin, the baby's coming. And
Dude, I was so happy. I told I came when I because you had messaged me while I was at work, and I got home and I told my girlfriend, and like she didn't. I mean, she doesn't know who the fuck you are, but I was like, Riley just had his baby, and she's like, oh, okay. I was so happy.
hell yeah, man. Oh, but yeah, it's awesome, man, and I'm excited to. We ain't got many events planned for this year that we're going to. I think really the only one I'm going to as of right now is the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree. But I can't wait to be taking her to all the events. Erica, she's already like, yeah, I'm
over
aware.
it.
She's like, it's that's gonna be your guys' thing. You can, especially when she gets bigger, you can just take her with you to all of them. Hand out all your little stuff. And yeah, I'm already getting her into all the Bigfoot stuff. I got her Bigfoot onesie, UFO onesie. She got stuffed Bigfoots and everything, man. I'm raising her up right.
Dope, son. Dope. Um, yeah, we're not doing too many events ourselves. Obviously, my son wants to do all the events that I go to, so I'm gonna be vending one here in my hometown in Sanford, Maine, 40 Fest. It's in May. I can't remember the exact date. I haven't signed up yet, but I'm going to. And my son got a 3D printer for Christmas, and he's like, I can print stuff, I can make things, and I can sell things now. And I'm like, whoa, crazy. I mean, he like because the two events there was I did an event Cryptid Fest in Massachusetts, and I was a speaker there. And so when I was speaking, he was selling hot sauce, and he sold like 10 bottles of hot sauce that day on his own. So I think he's opening up in his shell as well. I told you, I told Drew, um, you know, he's become religious in a sense. And my daughter, I don't know if I told you this. I told Drew. I texted Drew the minute I found out. My daughter asked her mother, my ex-wife, for a Bible instead of an iPad for Christmas, but the iPad was already purchased and wrapped under the tree. So there wasn't anything she could do about it at that point. Well, not maybe not under the tree, but wrapped and waiting to go under the tree. I mean, my kids know that Santa isn't real and stuff like that. Or, well, I mean, the concept of Santa is real, like the original story where it
Yeah.
originates obviously is real, but we're the ones that put the shit under the tree, kids. So I apologize if I just let the cat out of the bag for any children.
My average listener is above 30, so
Okay,
I
all
think we're
right.
pretty good.
All right. Well, you never know. There might be some 30-year-olds out there that are like, what?
Well,
That's not real.
if that's the case, Kevin doesn't know what he's talking about, guys. Santa's totally real. No, we
But yeah, though I was like, what? And so I texted Drew and I was like, you'll never guess what my daughter just said to her mother. And he's like, wow, that's a beautiful thing. And I've always believed in God. I've gone back and forth. I don't think I've ever been like complete atheist or anything like that. I mean, you when you were on the show, you told me your life story. You were an atheist. You used to get pissed off at people talking about religion and stuff. And I think what I think the biggest thing when it comes to religion is when people think that it's coming from a hate. Like so like when a preacher is at a pride rally or something and they're talking scripture and stuff like that, people get upset and because they think that they're being condescending um and hating on the people that are there, which they're not. Like like God loves you no matter what, but like you're when you choose to do something that is against that, like he's still gonna love you. You're just not gonna be welcome home. Is like, does that make sense? Because I mean, I don't know scripture. I know you do, and I know Drew does, and stuff like that. And I've talked to so many people on my podcast, which actually, um, I got to give you an email for Steve Wahlberg because he was an amazing interview. Um, and he's a Jewish Christian, he says. Um, like he had a lot of like tabs in his Bible to refer to scripture, like certain verses that he could reference and stuff. And so he knows this shit.
Oh yeah.
But fuck yeah, no. I think it comes from a love when people are out when there's street preachers that they're not telling you that they hate you. They're just telling you like this is the path. You don't have to take it. You can totally take the like we have free will. You
Mhm.
can totally continue doing what you're doing, but this is the way for God. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so like I'll just start off by I'm not the most scripturally well-versed person as there is. I haven't read every single thing in the Bible. I've read probably 80% of it. Um, give it like Songs of Solomon and stuff like that. Like I'm making my way through that now, but all the New Testament I've read. I'm working my way through the Old Testament right now, and that doesn't necessarily even mean anything. But so when God tells us not to do stuff, especially Old Testament stuff, so I'm not saying the Old Testament's wash at all, because I do believe we still need to live by those rules, but we are underneath a new covenant, and that covenant is through Christ. Christ went upon the cross, gave his life, and was resurrected 3 days later. So we live in the age of the new covenant where all sin is forgiven so long as with our mouths and our hearts we profess Christ as our Lord and Savior. He was born of a virgin. He was crucified and resurrected. Uh, God is three in one, the Father, the Spirit, and the Son. And but that doesn't mean we shouldn't follow the old rules, like you were saying, like with if a pastor's outside of like a pride rally or something like that. Yes, there, and I will be the first to say this as a Christian, there's a lot of bad Christians out there. And I'm not pulling no holier than thou card because we all have stuff that we need to work through, and God will work in each and every one of us. It's just us having accepting it ourselves and laying everything down at the foot of the cross so that God can take care of that and refine us. But like your like your father, or he wants what's best for us, like you do for your children. Like
Yep.
you have rules in place for your children for a reason, so that they do not stray, that they do not go and live an awful life. And I'm not saying the people that are doing these things, that are sinning, are living awful lives. I mean, every single one of us is a sinner. There's only been one without sin, and that is Christ. Now, our job is to sin less and less every single day. He knows that we are not going to be sinless. That is why he did it. But it is also our job to hold our brothers and sisters accountable and ourselves so that each day we may become more Christ like. We will never reach perfection, but if we come out of it with love, you know, a lot of these issues stop. So, like me personally, I have a lot of trans people in my life, and they know I don't hate them. I'll tell them about what the word says. They'll ask me about the scripture. Well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Am I going to hell for this? I don't know. I'm not God. But God can let you know if you build a relationship with him. That's all he wants with us is a relationship. We are all his children, regardless if we love him or not. He loves us. So it's like I'm not going to be the one that casts judgment on you when that day comes. So what should I bother? I'm just going to as your brother, I'm going to let you know this is what's up and what's wrong. And if I'm doing something in sin, if I'm living in sin, and you're aware of that, I would like you to call me out for that as well so that I can also work on becoming better. Because I'll tell you what, I got a lot of things, me personally, I need to work on. And I'm the head worship leader at my church. And I am far from perfect. And my pastor knows that, the congregation, everybody knows that. And I'll be the first to tell them that I'm not perfect, but I am growing and trying my best to become a better person every day. And they come at me with love. Sometimes it's stern love, but it's love, you know?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, perfection is an imperfection in itself. Um, nothing is perfect. No one is perfect. I mean, people might have symmetrical faces that make them extremely attractive, but um and people might be extremely nice, but there's also we're flawed. It's the human design is flawed. All right. So people aren't gonna do the best thing all the fucking time. Um, I obviously am I know that I'm a sinner. I haven't accepted Jesus Christ into my heart. I think that I'm on that path to do so. Um, but I know my kids have, like we were just talking about. I know my kids have, which is really interesting because, like, I was talking to Josh Monday about it too, and he's like, it's interesting because it's usually the father that shows the children, and it's coming through to you through your children, which is really interesting because I've never ever talked to them about religion at all. Um, and so it's really the more because the more people that I have on, like you, Drew, Josh, Vicky Joy, Karen Wilkinson, and stuff, and many more people, Steve Wahlberg, Justin from Prometheus Lens. The more people I have on, and we discuss the religion topic, the more I'm starting to believe it, and the more people that tend to try to throw a wrench in it, the more I don't know. It's a weird. I love them, but I'm like starting to be like, ew. I don't know why. It's like they're fantastic people. There's nothing wrong with them, but like, and again, I'm not like fully there. Like I'm not religious, and I think organized religion is flawed as well.
I would agree.
Um, yeah, and so like if I think, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry to go on this like weird ass tangent, and I think the only reason why I am bringing this up is because of your position. So
Hey, that's fine by me, brother. I have no problem. I'm enjoying it. And I would say with just like with your like what Josh said, it's interesting that it's your children. So I'm a firm believer, just from my own personal testimony,
mm,
God will meet you where you are because He's by you all the time, regardless if you want Him there or not. And sometimes it takes nobody's going to come to God the exact same way because
yeah,
none of us live the exact same life. And none of us have the exact same experience. So I would say like your kids are planting the seeds in your heart and like what's causing you to like I'm just gonna say get offended like when people are talking about God negatively about it. That those are the seeds that are sprouting and the Spirit is pouring into you, and there's something growing inside of you, and it's like I believe, and just because I've talked to your son about it too, like Braden could be the person that is going to bring you closer to the Lord so that you are able to have a relationship with him as well. If that's what I'm just getting from the outside looking in and just like our conversations and stuff like that. But like God does that with all sorts of people. Like we talked about on your show, dude. I was sitting in a barn or a garage drinking beer, talking about aliens, dude. And my buddy's
yeah,
stepdad just came and talked to me about it. I was like, it's weird. It's not just gonna happen. Like it can just happen, but it can happen in the weirdest places and the weirdest timings and stuff like that, you know?
yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. I think especially because I believe in God, because so like I think in order for him, because I've been on and off with him so much, like I know obviously if he knows us as well as I would like to think, and that religion would state as well as he does. Um, I think that he knows that, my kids mean so much to me that that was the best way to speak to me, you know?
Y- I would agree because the day
Mhm.
I don't, if my wife don't listen to my show hardly, it'll be 2 years before she hears this episode at the rate she's going. But when she was giving birth to my daughter, like there were some issues and like we I could have lost her and stuff like that. But like the second like my baby was born and I knew she was all right, my relationship with God strengthened so much because I love my child so much. Just in the first minute she was born,
Uh,
and I love that my wife was safe, and I knew that God was watching over us and protect us. And this child was a gift from Him. Like I was just able to experience His love in a whole different light, and
yeah,
it's been burning since she was
yeah,
born. So
yeah,
our children are precious,
yeah. So this will probably be the first time I publicly say this, I think. I did talk to Drew about this. Um, so like you, I mean, I mean, that Drew and I have become extremely close. Um, and we don't talk every day, but we talk a lot.
Mhm.
And I would say he's become like he's I would call him a brother at this point. Um, so whenever there's anything like especially religious wise, he's the first person that I talk to. So I went through the same thing with when my youngest daughter last spring. Um, she her heart rate kept dropping while in labor, and so they had to do an emergency C-section. Like so before they decided, well, so they gave us the option to do the C-section or to wait it out or something like that. I can't remember the exact stipulation, but I remember um going into the bathroom because it was like every like 15 minutes her heart would just drop to really low. And I went into the bathroom and I just stared at myself in the mirror and I fucking prayed for the first time in my life. And now she's here. So, come to find out, we did do a C-section. Her umbilical cord was not there was a knot in it, so it got like tangled and got knotted. So it was having a hard time supplying her at that point in time. So that was causing her heart to drop. So, and then the minute I saw her, I freaking lost my mind. I cried so hard. And she looked exactly like my oldest daughter in that moment too. And I was just like, oh my God.
That's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
And, and sometimes it's situation most of the time it's situations like that when God really is the only option.
Mm,
We I could go just because I did a whole sermon on it for the podcast a couple of weeks ago, like how many examples, and I only scraped the top of the barrel with it of we have to have faith in God in the storms of our lives. He's not always going to instantly pull us out of the storm, but he wants us to have faith and trust in him during those storms so that we are able to grow or strengthen our relationship with him and truly see what he means when he says, I will not forsake you. You know,
mm,
the
mm.
outcome might not always go the right way, man, but you, you're never going to know unless you put your faith in him and just ask.
Yeah. So it every day in my mind, I've been telling myself that I'm going to pray again and ask him to give me a sign to show, and then I would definitely believe. But like that doesn't make any sense because like again, he doesn't want to give you things for you to believe. He wants you to believe in him in order to get things.
Childlike
I
faith.
guess, like yeah. So I don't know. I just in my mind, I've been saying it a lot, and I don't know if he's just hearing it, and I'm not saying that this has anything to do with him, and it just might be either luck or just the way that the cards were supposed to fall for me. But so it wasn't until recent years, like around the time that I started my podcast, that I've been more financially stable, been able to do stuff a lot easier with my kids, and obviously, like, human will, and effort obviously goes a long way into that too. So I'm not 100% saying divinely, but so I have, I have a motorcycle and I have a car. My son is now just past driver's ed, so he has to get a certain amount of hours before he can go for his driver's test. So he needs a car. And I'm like, well, I'll at first I was gonna like buy him a car, and then I was gonna ask my wife to, like, let's go halvesies on a car. And I'm not 100% sure that my ex-wife is financially reliable. Not saying that she can't afford things. I'm just saying, like, she's constantly asking me for money for things for the kids. So, which is totally fine. I don't mind giving any kind of money for my children. Um, and we share them 50-50, and we both cover everything. So, but um so I'm like, well, I need a new car. And then out of nowhere, Allie's car shits the bed and is kaput. So now we're down to absolutely one car. And I have a motorcycle sitting in the garage. It's middle of winter. I'm not fucking jumping on that
Eh,
fucking thing.
yeah, no, not in the cold, man, not in the cold.
I've seen people do it, but I'm not doing it. Um, So, and I'm just like, you know what? I've been looking for this truck for like ever. I was like, so I'm just gonna go online real quick and see if the dealership down the street that I like to go to has it. Lo and behold, they have the truck that I want in the color that I want, the exact color. And I'm just like, all right, well, let's go see. So well, we start talking about it, and and then she got word the first day that we talked about it. She got word from about her car that was going to be $18,000 to fix it. And I was like, we can buy a brand new car for that fucking price.
Yeah.
So, and she's like, well, from the dealership, because that's from the Jeep dealer, right?
Mhm.
Because it's a newer Grand Cherokee. And apparently, so what happened was, um, something happened with the transmission. It stopped moving. So she had it towed to a transmission place. Transmission guy got a code, but it's a private code. And apparently, dealerships like to do this private code thing so that you have to go to them. And this has been like, I don't know if I think it's like 2015 and up or something like that. Because I'm pretty sure her Jeep is a 2015. So, anyways, so it goes to the dealership, and because the transmission guy called to get the codes, and they wouldn't give it to him. So we had to have it towed there. And so the dealership came back with all the stuff wrong with it, that amounted to like $18,000. And we're like, oh my God. And she was trying to get a hold of the dealership that she got the car from, because when I don't even think it's been a year yet since she's bought the thing. And she's like, I know it's under warranty, I just don't know if they're going to cover everything or what they're exactly going to cover. They might cover everything but the transmission. I have to buy a new transmission for $1,500.
That's a lot better than
And
18.
it is. And I'm like, oh, I mean, it is what it is. Like, we need to have it fixed, because if, I mean, junking it is going to be terrible. Um, but like, if she was, so say the warranty covered everything, but bought the transmission for 1,500, then sold the thing for 6 grand. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Something like that. Um, So I was like, and then I went back onto the website again, saw that truck, and I was like, we should really just go look at this, see what happens. They didn't give me like a monthly that I wanted, but they did drop it significantly. Like they started off really high and they dropped it quite a bit. And what ended up happening, so it was really weird. They ended up dropping the interest rate from 13 to 8.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I was just like, I have to get it. So I put money down, got the truck, came home with it. So now she has the car because she has my Nissan now, which is going to go to my son eventually after we get her car. She got word today, before I got home. So when I got home, she told me the warranty is going to cover everything.
Woo!
So not only did I get the truck that I wanted in the color that I wanted, her car is also going to get fixed for free.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And you know what? It's a pretty badass looking truck, man. I'm not the biggest gladiator, dude, but that thing, the color,
Hey,
it's the color that does it, honestly, man.
yeah. I'll be honest with you. When they first came out and what was it, 2020, 2021 was the first time they rolled them out. I was like, man, those things look fucking dumb, you
Yeah.
know? But I don't know. Like, I started, the more I thought about it, because first of all, I want a truck. I need a truck. There's things that I need a truck for.
Hmm.
But I also want to have fucking a Jeep Wrangler so I can take the roof and the doors off in the summertime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's two birds with one stone. I mean, I know a lot of them. So like the first ones that they came out with look stupid. I'll be honest with you. I mean, they all kind of look stupid in a way, in a certain way. But the one that I got is raised 6 inches. It's fucking beefy. It's fucking army green. Has a freaking bed rack on it, and it has a winch on the front. And it's badass. Like I really love driving it. The only thing I don't like about it is the fucking waving at other Jeep Wranglers and shit. I hate I freaking hate
You
that.
gotta, hi guys.
I passed like five of them. I didn't wave at any of them. And then I was about, because today was the first day that I was really out and about, traveling a long distance because of work. And I passed like five Jeeps and they all waved at me. And I was like, nope, not doing it. I'm not fucking doing it. And then I was turning onto my road to my house, and a Jeep passed by me and waved. And I just like out of instinct, I was just like, I saw somebody waving, so I waved, and I was like, oh no.
Well, welcome to the cult, Kevin.
I don't understand that. Why do we do that?
I,
Why do Jeep people do that? That doesn't
uh,
make sense.
because they're dangerous. Hey, man, the
And
waves
the
just.
duck thing too is
I was about to
stupid.
say, you've already been brought in with the wave. Next thing you know, you're going to be Amazon and 500 rubber ducks to drop everywhere.
Nope, nope, not doing that. My cousin has a Jeep. She's like, I'm gonna take because she was messaging me when I bought the truck, asking me like prices and stuff like that. And she's like, the only thing I hate about is the Jeep Wave and the stupid freaking ducks. And I was like, yeah, I'm not waving at anybody. Um, and then she's like, and I was like, and I'm gonna throw away the ducks every time I get one. I might even just drop it on the ground and then like a little kid can come along and pick it up or something. Be like, oh, I got a little rubber ducky or something like that. But she's like, I'm gonna freaking put all the rubber ducks that I get in a bag and I'm gonna throw it in the back of your truck. And I was like, and that bag's gonna go directly in the dumpster. But no, that thing it's pretty badass. I like the rims on it, man. I'm so happy with the way life is going right now, and um I just hope it continues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be them days, but life's not to sound cliche. Life's what we make out of it, man.
The dope, yes, yeah. It's a garden. You got to dig.
Yep. Oh. So after about half an hour here, why don't you tell people a little bit about your products that you got going on right now? I know you've been coming out with
uh
some new stuff, man, since the last time we talked.
Yeah, man.
I'm so jealous.
I got hot sauce. I dubbed it weird sauce. So I have four flavors currently. I have a limited edition. I really need to focus on the website. I really need to get the murder juice on. So murder juice is my limited edition. It just came from my uh fall harvest. So I got chilies. Next year I might do ghost peppers in this thing instead. But it's strawberries. So strawberry murder juice is the name of it. And so I only have like 8 or 10 bottles. So that's a limited edition. The rest of them are so I got hot lemon squeeze, I have green apple sizzle, blueberry heat, and down the rabbit hole. And down the rabbit hole, I believe, is the hottest. Hot lemon squeeze is also really hot, and then the apple and the blueberry ones are more mild. Um, but my sponsor really likes the apple, so I got to send him a bulk order of the apple, and then hopefully maybe get more because they run a um, restaurant out in Oregon, Flavors of the Forest. I don't know if you've ever heard of them,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah. So they have a restaurant out there in Oregon, and um, yeah, maybe get more of a regular flow of hot sauce out to Oregon, and start making some money, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
I became friends with this local pizza shop here in my hometown, and she's like you make your own hot sauce, like you have a hot sauce company, and I was like, yeah. She's like, why didn't you tell me? She's like, I serve food. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll have to swing by. Uh, we usually get pizza every Friday night. Every Friday night I get the kids. So we do pizza and a movie, but I also have hot sauce. I already talked about the hot sauce, Riley. Jeez. Uh,
It's that good you
I
got to
also have
talk about it
coffee.
twice. Ooh.
Yeah, I know, right? I really enjoy it. So the hot lemon squeeze is the original, and that's what I was originally making for like my buffalo dips, but it was with that hot sauce, and it's like really sweet, tangy, very lemony. Um, but that's uh, it's hot. Um, but anyways, so I also have a coffee company called Weird Java, a coffee company. Um, I have a dark roast and two medium roasts, and then I have a decaf, and the decaf is called False Flag because what else can you name a decaf? Because it's pretending to be something that it's not.
Yeah.
So, but I do have other flavors coming out at some point. I believe the dark roast has like a chocolatey roast to it, and then one of the medium ones. I have so there. The dark roast is called Wake the Dead because I feel like darker roasts are more strong. So when you really need to wake up, you could probably wake the dead with a dark roast. And then there's like a maple-ish flavored one called Sasquatch Cafe. And then there's another one, another medium roast that I dubbed the Professional Ghost. So it's all like cryptid, paranormal themed. Same with the weird sauce. So like the weird sauce, I have Bigfoot on hot lemon squeeze. I have Dogman on the blueberry heat, Gray Alien on the green apple one, and I have a half man, half rabbit for the rat down the rabbit hole, and then I have a half naked chick with a sheet over her that makes her look like a ghost for the strawberry murder juice.
Awesome, man.
Um, but yeah, and then obviously the coffees are all um based that way too. I also have supplements, which you can now purchase chocolate protein on my website, which is the only supplement that I have available at the moment. I like to try when it comes to supplements, I want to try them and I want to go through the ingredients because I consume mostly clean things anyway, and I wouldn't want to put something out that I wouldn't consume.
Yeah.
So, like the hot sauce has sugar in it, but it's not enough to really like do much to you.
Yeah, it's not like you're
Um,
pouring a whole can of Coke or something in there.
right, right. So that the only thing that about the hot sauce, which I might make one that doesn't have any sugar at all, um, for the hot sauce, but it's organic cane sugar. It's not freaking bleached or anything like that. Um, so yeah, like the protein is really clean. Um, there's no fillers in it. So, and I only have chocolate, but it's called Weird AF, obviously standing as fuck, weird as fuck supplement company. Um, and yeah, so there's going to be pre-workout, creatine, electrolytes. Um, there's going to be, mushroom blend for, focus. There's sea moss. I mean, when it comes, it's a whole bunch of supplements. But as of right now, the protein is on there. I consume the protein and the creatine right now. Um, and I've had the pre-workout, which it's weird because they call it the company calls it fruit punch. So I had it, they had them sent it, had it sent to me, and I put it in the water and it turns green. And I was like, usually fruit punch is red, but whatever. So I drink it and I was like, this tastes like green apple, not fruit punch. Like it tasted appley to me. And I was like, what I mean, whatever. But the only thing is, so they're offering two pre-workouts. One is clean, which is the fruit punch one that I tried. And then the other one has like maltodextrin and some other shit in it, but it also has L-arginine. So the one that I tried doesn't have L-arginine in it. So the one that I didn't try has L-arginine. L-arginine is the amino acid that makes you feel tingly. So
Uh,
whenever you have a pre-workout and you start feeling tingly, it's because of that. It's not because of like because there's so much caffeine coursing through your veins that you're like, oh, it's the L-arginine that does that to you.
I love that stuff. I'm one of the few people on the planet. Give it. If you look at me, I ain't been in the gym in probably about 2 years now. But when I was working out all the time, man, I love that tingling feeling because it was just like, all right, if I start working out and I go hard, it's gonna go away. So it was like that motivation to get a good set in.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean workout's good and to like get you pumped up, fucking like and like excited, like all just like you know what I mean?
Uh,
So like, but pre-workout is also bad for you. So like I say when so when I made the video for the pre-workout, when I was just letting people know that I'm trying it and that eventually it's gonna be on the store, like I have to let people know, like you treat it like a steroid. You gotta cycle on and cycle off. I've never done steroids, and I think it would be beneficial for nobody to do steroids.
yeah.
Um, Granted, it does get you big. All the bodybuilders do it and shit like that. But I mean, obviously, you've seen Ronnie Coleman lately. The dude can't walk. So
Yeah, it's I I wasn't smart with it back in the day, and I took a fat guy pre-workout. So
yeah,
everything in pre-workout plus amino boosters, fat burners, all that good stuff. So like if somebody that wasn't fat took it, their heart would explode probably.
yeah, yeah. So like that's the thing is that because if you're taking it every time you're working out, because this is what I ended up happening to me. I was taking pre-workout back in the day every day to the point where it stopped working. And then I was taking two scoops every day. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like they already limit you. So energy drinks are fucking terrible. There's so much crap in that that you don't need to be consuming. That is not meant to be consumed, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but they limit you to three. And they say within 24 hours, three only, no more than three. Right.
Hmm.
So one scoop of pre-workout is the equivalent of like six energy drinks.
Yeah.
So like yeah, it's not good for your it's good and it's not good. And pre-workout is only an is has only been an it's a pretty new thing. I don't think they started developing pre-workouts until after 2010. I mean, I could be incorrect on that, but I'm pretty sure that's when they hit the scene was around that area.
It was pretty big once I got into high school, about 2014. That's when like
Yeah.
everybody and their brother was like, "Yo, you gotta try this stuff. It's you ain't never gonna work out the same." And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared of it for a few years. It wasn't until, I got to 310 pounds and was all right, I need to lose some weight and actually get in the gym. That I was like, "Oh, let's try this stuff out." It's good,
Uh,
but like you said, man, it's not good for you in a lot of doses.
yeah. Yeah. So I always recommend um, use it until it's gone and then go about a month or so, maybe 2 months without it, and then you can do another jar of it. And I know that's probably terrible for my sales when I do have the pre-workout in the store, but at the same time, I care more about people's health than selling anything.
Yeah,
So I would rather them be aware. And I know most people are aware that pre-workout's not great for you, but I mean, I know it gives you that boost of energy for, especially when you're doing heavy sets, when you're doing a heavy set day, you know, or you're doing cardio, a lot of cardio. It's good to have that little bit of extra energy. And it also like it does I feel like it does help with a pump.
hmm.
Like I feel like when I do, because I do chest and biceps, so I always feel like I might be a bodybuilder after those days on days that I take a pre-workout because I'm just like, and I go like I don't rest very long, and so like to a lot of people that are in the gym, and I, I go to Planet Fitness right now, so don't judge me. But I do like 3 sets 3 to 4 sets to everybody else around me who are doing one.
It,
So by the time I've gotten through my third or fourth set, they've only done one. And I mean, a lot of people they rest, they stare, they play on their phones, and like I'm there to work, you know. I'm
it,
there to hurt myself, you know. So I believe I told you like when I was on the first time, I did attempt on my life twice,
mhm.
contemplated a third. And I think the gym has been like really my saving grace in all of this. The gym and my kids. If there was ever a day that both those things are taken away from me, it's gonna be a bad day. It's and I mean probably won't see me ever again. But um the best way I think so like going to the gym, I'm hurting myself, but in a healthy way, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's refine
eh,
you're refining yourself, breaking yourself down to build something new.
yeah. So like it's essentially the same thing that I was doing before in a positive way. So I'm using what I've done to myself for so long more in a positive way. So um it's a healthy way for of self-harm. And um yeah. So that's, the gym has been beneficial to my mental health. And I think that's extremely important for everybody is to find something that helps you with that aspect. Not everything is doom and gloom. There's a way out. There's always, uh, um, there's always light on the other side, you know. You ever hear the story of buffalo, the difference between buffalo and cattle?
No, can't say I have.
So say you got a pasture of buffalo on one side and a pasture of cattle on the other. There's a storm coming. You're out in Nebraska or Iowa or something, North Dakota. There's a storm coming. The cattle or the cows, whichever, however you want to view it, see the storm and they're like, fuck, they're running, right? So the storm's trying to come to them, it's starting to come to them, and they're running. The storm catches up to them, they're in the storm, and they're still trying to run away from the storm. The buffalo will run to the storm and run through the storm. So the longer you're trying to get away from the storm, the longer you're in the storm.
I like that. I, I've never heard that before. I really, really like. I'm just gonna warn you. I'm gonna steal that, and I'm gonna tell somebody someday, and I'm gonna wonder who. I'm gonna sit there
I'm
for 10 minutes trying to figure out who told me that.
I'm sure there's a shorter way to say that, but yeah, like the longer you're trying to run. I think frick, what is his name? He plays the mobster a lot. I think he didn't say that quote, but he did say something like, why are you running from your demon? Stop running from your demons. Just turn around. Stop and turn around.
Yeah. That's-
The faster you get it over with, the better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
That's
just like anything else in life. The once you focus on doing it and taking care of what you have to take care of, the faster it's done, and then the better you feel. It's it's really interesting. People fight so hard to not feel negative emotions when if they would just let themselves feel it, it would be over and they wouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
yeah.
Not saying that they wouldn't have to worry about it completely, but you
It,
know,
it helps. That's something. That's something I'm still trying to figure out, man. Because I'm one of those dudes that up until recently, like, didn't like to show a ton of emotion and stuff like that, and kind of just like bottled everything up. I was like,
oh yeah.
I'm just gonna deal with it one day, you know. Like, uh, after my dad passed away and stuff like that, everybody was like, "Man, like, why are you all right? Like, why are you so calm? Like, aren't you upset?" I'm like, yeah, I'm upset. And they're like, well, have you dealt with it yet? No, I'm gonna deal with it some other time. I'm just like running away from having to like actually like express it and let it
Yeah.
hit me and stuff like that. So like for me, it personally didn't hit me until like a year and a half later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was really close with my uncle, and he passed. And it was either 2018 or 2019, one or the other. And we were all there, circled around him. And the minute that freaking monitor went flat, like I freaking got up and I ran. I ran out of the hospital room. I ran down the hall. Nobody could find me for like an hour. Um, not, I mean, I did deal with it right there. Like was, I lost my mind. But I was over at my cousin. So also another shout out. I'm gonna be starting to do investigations, paranormal investigations, and I'm teaming up with my cousin. So my cousin and I are gonna start doing shit, and we're gonna produce it together and stuff. And he's actually gonna start helping me with my documentaries as well. Um, so I went over to his house last weekend and we were just hashing out things, what we're going to do for our first investigation. So we're going to go to the Salem Inn in Massachusetts, in Salem. Um, and we're going to try and stay in room 17, which is the most haunted room in the place. But I also want to send them an email to try and see if we can get a tour of the place, maybe have an interview with a employee or manager or something like that, just to go with the video. But anyway, so I'm over his house and he's like, we got to on the topic of shot glasses, and he's like, "Man, I got a bunch of Uncle Keith's shot glasses. You want some?" And I go, "What?" And he's like, he just pulled out this huge box, and I open it and I'm going through it, and he's like, "You can have all of those." And like the minute he said that, like I have like a couple of shot glasses in my hand, I just fucking started crying my eyes out. So I don't know if it was like just like untapped emotion that I didn't finish with or what, but it it was interesting.
Yeah, it it comes in waves, man. It
Yeah.
That's just life as it is.
Yeah, it's been like 5 or 6 years since he's passed. But he was, I would say, he was definitely one of my biggest male role models, if not the biggest. Like I feel like he is what every man should be. Like he was the epitome of what a man is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And he
that's
and he was gay. He was gay. And he was the fucking shit, you know? Like he was a man's man though. Like he took care of shit, you know? And he was single his whole life. Well, we didn't know who he was bringing home. That's for sure. Anyways, I mean, he's very like he's private about it. We didn't need to know, but
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
knew who they were. I mean, we knew what kind of people they were, but like he didn't need to share it with us. We didn't need to know, and that's fine. Um, and even if we did know that, that would have been fine that way as well. But I'm just saying, like he was an EMT his entire life, worked at the same fire station. When he passed, they made a memorial at the hospital for him because that's how loved he was in that community.
That's awesome, man. That is a man's man. That's so we should all, you know.
And he put everybody first his entire life. Everybody. And that was his brothers and his sisters' children. So his nieces and nephews, and then his great nieces and nephews, and then his great great nieces and nephew. My kids got to experience some of his love too. So
That's
it was
awesome.
awesome. We used to go, we used to go over to his house, spend the night, and we'd watch fucking Gremlins every time. He'd take us out to Friendly's. I'd get freaking French toast and eggs and bacon, and then we'd go home and sleep on the pull-out sofa and watch Gremlins.
That's awesome, man.
It was pretty dope, man. It was pretty dope. It's interesting the things that life calls to us.
It is.
So
I'm glad you brought up, not to change the subject like super quick, but I'm glad you brought up your documentaries because I definitely want you to. I don't know how much you can talk about it, but I know you mentioned
yeah.
you're going to Salem. Why don't you like give people a vision of like some of the stuff you want to do
All
with it?
right. So I call in the production company. So like you and Shane have, well, how Shane has Open Minds Media and he's doing a bunch of things under that umbrella, right? So I started my like a similar like production. I guess it would be a production company, but it's really just me editing and fucking putting out videos, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm calling it Where the Weird Ones Go. So the podcast is where the weird ones are, but the documentaries and the investigations are going to go under Where the Weird Ones Go, which the podcast is also technically a part of the productions. But I'm gonna make a separate YouTube for it. But anyway, so we're gonna do Kevin and Mark investigate, which is gonna be the paranormal stuff. We investigate paranormal places and or just random places, see if we can find something. Abandoned buildings and whatnot, stuff like that. Now, as far as the documentaries go, what I want to do is I want to call that Where the Spirits Are. So, and I'm gonna get that on Tubi and Paraflix, um, and maybe even Amazon. So the documentary stuff is small town ghost stories. The history, you get the history of the town, you get personal encounters of people. Maybe we might even bring up murders or historical buildings and stuff like that. It might be I'm considering doing episodic. So like each town has like 3 to 5 episodes
Hmm.
of certain different things that have happened in the town. throughout its history. And the first one that I'm doing is on my hometown, where there has um apparently in 2023 it was voted the most haunted town in all of Maine because it has the highest report of paranormal activity.
Hmm.
So there's been a few murders here, and there was a paranormal group that came here in 2015. Um, I believe it's their YouTube is called Maine Haunts, and there was a little girl that was murdered in 1984. She was 12, and they're pretty sure that what they capture, it does look like a little blonde girl, and they're pretty sure that it was her in the mill building because apparently he took her to the mills and killed her. But they're also saying that he took her to a trail into the woods. It's called Pike Woods, um, and killed her there. And but that's still close to the mills.
Hmm.
So, if like I think spirits travel anyway. So it's possible it's possible that it was her. It could have been somebody completely different. It doesn't matter. But what they got was freaking crazy. And I'm probably going to reference that in the documentary as well. I'm going to be working with a gentleman that did make a documentary about my town, like a short, like hour um, documentary. I ended up watching it after I had decided to do a documentary on my town, and he did pretty good. It's just him talking and stuff like that and doing like little investigations and stuff, which is still pretty good. But I'm gonna have him involved with mine, and he's gonna tell some of his stories because he's had encounters here in town. And then my good buddy Nomar Slevik is gonna narrate,
Oh, that's
and he has an
awesome.
amazing voice. So yeah, that's what I want to do is just do like a history and talk to people who've had paranormal activities or even strange activities, maybe even cryptid activity, and just like small towns all over the states. Is what I want to do. I want to be able to do that, and maybe do that as a living. Just travel around the country doing this stuff. But I mean, even if it's not as a living, I could probably still make it work. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just won't be like a consistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of like around you, but then every once in a while travel off and do something.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
yeah.
because I'm doing the we've talked about it. I'm doing the same. You're gonna start doing the same kind of thing here as well, man. Man, who knows? Maybe we'll do a collab here someday in the future.
We could definitely do that for show, dog, for show.
I'm just finding out, man, since because I've only been living in Indiana for about a year. There's some really haunted stuff like and a lot of cryptid stuff that has happened within 15 minutes of my house.
How far are you from the Indiana State Sanatorium?
Let me.
Because that is highly haunted. My buddy Ron, Grave Evidence on Instagram, has been there several times, and he's gets a lot of activity.
Let me see. I'm pulling that up right now.
I think they built a hotel on the property too.
Oh
Or
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just saying, I
Oh,
think they built a hotel.
oh yeah. So I'm about 3 hours. So yeah, that's over by Indy. Yeah, I'm on the.
Okay.
So yeah, that's way above me. So I'm at like the Michigan Indiana state line.
I got you.
So I'm by Indiana Dunes National Park.
Mm.
Oh, state park, natural preserve. See, this is wild because this changes all the time. Sometimes it's national park, sometimes it's state park.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Same thing. It's the same thing.
cryptids and stuff. But the Chicago Mothman, the pterodactyl, whatever one it was that swooped down and picked that little boy up. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 10 minutes away from there.
Dope. That's
Yeah,
interesting. That's interesting. Apparently, we've had Mothman sightings up here in Maine. I
really.
didn't know that. Yeah. There's so if any of your listeners get the chance to Nomar Slevik, he wrote a book called UFOs Over Maine. He did a revision of it. So it's his 10-year anniversary. So it's UFOs Over Maine 2024, and it has a bunch of news stories in it. And I'm pretty sure he has at least one Mothman encounter story in there. He also has two of my stories in the book.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dope. It's pretty dope. My mushroom people's in there, and my dogman encounter is in there.
Your mushroom people, man. That's always a good one.
Dude, oh my God. When I was telling Shannon LeGros that story, she's like, that's crazy. I was like, I feel crazy still. I'm like, there's been so if for all your listeners, if they listen to that episode, they heard the story. I do like every time I tell a story, I don't know if it really happened. You know, it could have been a dream that I had, and when I did the regression, and I'm just remembering a dream and stuff, but everything around it happened. So like I still don't wear glasses now.
Y'all
So
should go check out his show
regard
where he talks about it.
regardless, it something happened, you know what I mean? But I was telling Shannon, I was like, I feel like sometimes I feel like I should be in a padded room fucking hugging myself, you know?
Yeah, you saw the Smurfs, man. That is wild. I know you didn't share it on the show when you're on here, so everybody like make sure you find a. You've told it on numerous places. Go find somewhere and listen to them talk about it. I ain't gonna make you recount it here for the million million and a half time, man. I'm starting to realize after going on so many shows, man, it's fun to tell a story the first couple times, but then after that, it's almost like a chore, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I when I go on shows to talk about my experiences, I go through chronologically. I notice that I leave stuff out sometimes just because there's certain stories that I like more. So I'll
Uh-huh.
leave like the little stories, not like the obviously my big stories. My biggest story is my first encounter, the mushroom people, uh the what I think is a dog man, but I'm not sure, and then the shadow lady that walked like a robot. So there's four stories that I always get to.
Yeah. Oh, people, listeners, a lot of recap this episode is what it is. Y'all get over it. Just sit and enjoy it. Listen to. Did I tell you? I don't know if I texted you. I know I texted Drewski. Erica saw a dog man a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard you talk about it on your podcast. I actually heard you talk about it on Bizarre Encounters too.
Oh, you listen to me?
I listened to you.
Aw. Yeah, dude. I saw every time I drive up that road where I saw it. I'm like, cause she showed me the spot that she saw it. I keep on like, I'm about to just one day hop out the side of the road and just kind of walk out in the woods and see what happens, man.
Yeah, fucking see if you find tracks, Doug.
Hey, well, here's the thing. It's like right on the highway. So I thought she was taking the back roads.
Uh,
It's right on the highway. So I'm like, oh,
is there a shoulder there or no?
yeah, yeah, but it's
Hmm.
not too far away from. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some homeless encampments and stuff out there.
Ah, yes. Yes, yes. Oh, dude, I almost killed a homeless guy the other day. Last Monday.
Elaborate.
So, I pick up dumpsters and I put them down for a living. So I pulled up to this one dumpster in the middle of fucking smack dab middle of Portland, Maine, and I pick up this dumpster and I dump it into my truck, and then I'm shaking it, and then I look down and I see a body laying right there, like because sometimes when you don't when for some reason when the dumpsters come back down, they don't go exactly where they were. You know what I mean? They're a little like shifted depending on how you pull into them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like if I didn't look down and noticed a person covered up in a blanket behind this dumpster, I could have just smashed him. I could have just like put the weight of this fucking thing right on him. And so I backed up like 10 feet and put down. He didn't move. He didn't move the whole time I was there.
Are you,
Did
are you,
not flinch. Not
are you-
one. He might have even been dead, maybe.
I
I
was
don't
about
know.
to ask, man, is he still kicking
I,
or
I don't know. He wasn't there today when I went.
yeah,
So,
that's
but I've seen some interesting things from the homeless people. I picked up a dumpster one time also in the middle of frickin' Portland, Maine, and there's like these bamboo bushes, like you know what I mean? Like it's bamboo, but it's not like
it's not true bamboo.
yeah, it's not true bamboo, but if you fucking cut it and just throw it somewhere, it'll start growing on its own. But so there's like all these bushes in, around this fence behind the dumpster, and on the other side of the fence is the train track. And I freaking pick up the dumpster, and out of the bushes, these two homeless guy, one's butting up his pants, and the other one's going like this, wiping his mouth. I was like, "Oh my god, dude, are you freaking kidding me?"
Man, this sounds like I gotta
They
take my
wanted to they had like this like a little barrel sitting behind the dumpster. It had like cigarettes and stuff. It looked like they were divvying it like, here, I got like five cigarettes and this freaking hard candy and a couple pennies. Yeah, yeah, I'll give you that. You give me that, I'll give you these.
Man, I need to take my buddy Brad to Maine then, man, because he has the superpower. He has the ability to summon homeless people from anywhere. We're we're at a Denny's in Michigan City in the middle of the night. We just got done with at the casino, and we just wanted to get some dinner. And his wife was like, "Oh, he probably made a friend." Next thing you know, he's gonna walk outside, and some homeless dude's gonna appear out of a bush to talk to him. Kevin, not 5 seconds later, he walks out that door, starts walking to the car, and homeless dude just appears out of the bushes. She's like, everywhere we go, they just pop out and want to talk to him.
That's crazy.
Everywhere he goes,
That's
man.
wild. That's wild. The same day that I almost put the dumpster back down on that guy laying down, there was another homeless woman across the street at another dumpster that I was picking up at a convenience store, and this couple came walking out, and their car was parked right next to my truck where I would enter to grab the dumpster, and the woman gets in her car, and then this homeless lady freaking puts her face right up against her window, and like she's like twitching and stuff and sticking her finger in her mouth, and I'm like, I almost like stopped what I was doing, opened my door, and to yell at her to get away from them, but she rolled her window down and was talking to her for a little bit. So I don't know if they knew each other or if she was just like, all right, I'll give you some money or something like that. You know what I mean? But it was really weird. Like she was fidgeting and she's like sticking her finger down her throat while she's like literally her face is like right up against their window. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening right now? It's the man. Portland, Maine is an interesting place. You want to see some shit, freaking go. You want to see some weird shit, go to Portland, Maine.
It's all them big cities, man. They're me personally, I believe like they're spiritual hotspots, and these
Yes,
these people are being possessed, man. Because I see that stuff in
I agree.
Michigan City. I saw it in Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Detroit, Lansing, Chicago, all those big cities around me, man. Fort Wayne. And yeah, those people are all like 90, I would
Dude,
say 90% of them are possessed, man.
yeah. Well, I mean, drugs are a form of possession.
Yeah.
It's same as alcohol.
Hmm.
Um,
Spirits
so
for a
like
reason.
right. I was telling Allie the other day, I was like, because it's been really fucking cold up here the past couple of weeks. And I'm like, if I was homeless, I'd be migrating south every freaking winter. And in fact, I would go south and never come back. Honestly, if I was homeless, I'd be in the Keys. That's where I would be.
Oh yeah,
I'm just gonna say that right now. I because when me and my kids went to the Keys, I didn't see any homeless people anywhere.
you'd be top of the food chain down there, man.
Exactly.
You just gotta
I'd
swim
be
across the bridge.
I'd just freaking make myself a spear and freaking spear fish all day long and be like, that's my food for the day. These three fish that I caught today. And I'd freaking have a little fire on the beach. I'd probably find like this remote place. I'd probably end up getting eaten by alligators, but hey, I'd be warm.
Hey, yeah, it's better than migrating south into the Appalachians and joining the colony of the feral people out there.
Yes, that's a lot better than that. I don't want to get raped
Right,
or
amen.
cannibalized.
Do you hear banjos, Kevin?
A squeal, pig, squeal.
Man. Oh, man. But honestly, it's been about an hour and a half, man. How about you tell everybody where they can find you and one more time and yeah, we'll call it there this time and we'll have you back on soon.
All right, man. So my name's Kevin. I'm host of Where the Weird Ones Are podcast. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. I'm also on YouTube and occasionally Rumble. Usually only post to Rumble when YouTube kicks them off, but I might start being more consistent with Rumble. Either way, that's where you can find me. You won't if you're interested in any of the merch, like the hot sauce, the coffee, the supplements. I do have some. I think the t-shirt designs are pretty fucking dope. Um, in my opinion, mainly because I've made some of them and some of my closest friends have made them. So, but either way, you can get that at where the weird ones are podcast.com. And if you're interested in jumping on the show, telling your encounter stories, maybe talking about mental health or a conspiracy that you know a lot of information about, you can definitely hit me up at where the weird ones are at gmail.com. Um, I love talking about this stuff. It's a lot of fun. And time flies by when you're having fun. So, uh, yeah. Um, I just want to say thanks, Riley, for inviting me back on for the second time. It's always nice to talking to you, and I look forward to seeing you in April.
Yes.
Hint, hint.
Oh yeah, man. You're welcome on the show anytime, brother. Thank you for coming on. And actually, before we head out here, I forgot to bring it up. Did you know we finally got an answer to the drones?
Yes.
I was pretty disappointed, man. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. I think it's half right. I think it's half the truth, like half truth.
Yeah, just like
The Black Hawk helicopter that hit the plane was the drone.
I can believe that. That
They can be remotely maneuvered. Did you know that?
oh yeah.
The Black Hawks.
Oh yeah. You don't know where I learned that from? Alex Jones.
I learned that in a news article like 5 months ago.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh. That's interesting.
which I never even like thought of putting that to the drones. But the drones were significantly smaller than a Black Hawk helicopter. So,
Yeah,
but
Black
yeah,
Hawk.
when they want, they can. I think it's like 300 miles. They can be remotely maneuvered, operated.
That's a pretty large
So,
distance. Yeah. Who
I mean,
knows?
have you ever been inside of a Black Hawk helicopter?
I've never been inside a recreational helicopter.
Okay, well, you can see everything. You can. There's no way that you wouldn't be able to see a fucking commercial airline plane coming crossing your path. There's just there's no way you could not have noticed that this plane is coming. And then when the control tower asks you if you see the plane and you don't reply, that's a little weird to me.
Yeah, And my heart and prayers go out to all the people in the commercial line that lost.
Absolutely.
Man,
Absolutely.
we might have to we might have to do an episode on this, man. Talk about this because I think it's part of a ritual because there's been four in the last week.
Yeah.
I think if one
Yeah,
more happens,
they're trying to blame Trump.
yeah, it's a it's a shame.
Man,
Oh,
Trump's not perfect. No president's gonna be perfect. No president's gonna do everything that I like.
exactly.
But I don't know. It's I mean, who knows? It could be his fault too, I guess. And you know,
At the end of the day, we are all men. We come from a fallen nature. It's been that throughout history.
mm,
As we were talking about when the show started, ain't nobody perfect. Ain't nobody ever gonna be perfect. Jesus was the only perfect one, and you know, you can like people, you can dislike people, but at the end of the day, we're all people, and it's a lot easier to love people than hate people.
less energy
Yes.
too. It's a lot less energy. Hate is is a lot of energy. Useless energy.
It burns a lot
I'll
of
say
it.
that. Mm.
Well, on that note, everybody, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Midwest Mythos. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll be back again next week with another one for you guys. And if you or anybody you know wants to come on the show, talk on the show, if you've had any encounters, you're a researcher, or you just want to sit down and have an awesome conversation like this one, reach out to me. You can find my report, get a hold of me on the link tree. It's in the description, or you can DM me on Instagram. That's honestly the best way to do it. I'll get back to you pretty quick most of the time. Yeah, shoot me a message and we'll work something out. And on that, God bless y'all and enjoy the rest of your week. See y'all.
Later.